Hello everyone, my name is Daverba Cruz and I want to thank you for coming here tonight. We are here to learn a little about domestic violence, but first I want to see how many of you know who Jennifer Lopez is. If you don't, Jennifer Lopez is the Puerto Rican actress that in 2002 starred in the film called Enough, which tells the story of Slim, a hardworking waitress that falls in love and later marries a man who defended her from the unwanted advances of a customer. Slim dream marriage turned into a nightmare when her husband cheated on her and began beating her up. Just like Slim, there are many women out there that are being abused by their domestic partners and don't even realize what is happening to them. I would like to explore domestic violence today by first defining it and then exploring its negative impact and offer suggestions on how to end it. The online dictionary defines domestic violence as the act of violence or abuse against a person living in one's household, especially a member of one's immediate family. Domestic violence is also a crime. As a matter of fact, one that can be prevented. Once we understand that, the next step is to learn more about this phenomenon that is destroying households and scaring families. It is important to understand, especially since I see many young faces here, that this is something that can happen to anyone, not only to married couples. Teenagers are also exposed to abuse in their dating relationships. It is something that happens regardless of social status, culture, age, gender, or sexual preference. It also happens among all levels of education and in every religion. Therefore, we must not feel secure because we live in a seemingly safe society. Even if our spouse or significant other is an active member of the community or church, it can happen. However, we must note that those who live in more marginal situations or have fewer resources are at a greater risk. It is important that we know how to identify and escape an abusive relationship. Here are some of the signs that will alert you to domestic violence. If you feel that you must be careful with what you do or say, or he threatens to hurt you, your children, or someone you love, that is a red flag. If he or she takes control over the finances, making you dependent on him for everything, or he forces you to have sex even when you don't feel like it. And if he or she pushes you, shoves you aside, or throws things at you, he's not just playing, he's being abusive. And if he doesn't give you personal space, such as showing up unexpectedly when you are at work or with family and friends, these are indications that you are in an abusive relationship. If you can relate to any of these situations, then you should reconsider your relationship and start looking for a way out. In 2005, the American Psychiatry Association said that abusers will use many ways to isolate their victims. They intimidate and control their partners. At first, it might be difficult to recognize. Early on, your partner might seem attentive, generous, and protective. However, later on, it becomes scary and frightening. They become controlling. Initially, the abuser will find ways to isolate their victims. It happens in isolated incidents for which your partner expresses remorse and promises never to do it again. He or she will make up excuses such as being under stress or that their behavior is caused by something you did or didn't do. Abusers will oftentimes try to reward you with presents or allow you certain liberties. He or she will make you doubt that they are capable of hurting you or anyone else. Believe it or not, anyone can be a victim. Men can also be a victim of domestic violence. So this is not just a woman problem. However, statistics show that women are more likely to be abused. The FutureWithoutViolence.org website says that 84% of domestic abuse victims are women, and that 3 out of every 4 people who commit a violent act against a partner are male. 2010 statistics shows that 1 of every 4 women is abused on one form or another. Also, every 9 seconds, a woman is assaulted or beaten here in the United States. Did you know that the domestic violence website says that domestic violence is the leading cause of injuries to women? That's right, even more than car accidents, mugging, and rapes combined. Let's take a look at some of those statistics. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence shows under statistics that it costs more than $5.8 billion per year to protect victims in partnership violence, with 4.1 million going towards direct medical and mental health services. Victims of intimate partner violence lost almost 8 million days of paid work because of the violence perpetrated against them by their domestic partners, current boyfriends, or husbands, or ex-boyfriends and ex-husbands, and dates. This loss is equivalent to more than 32,000 full-time jobs and almost 5.6 million days of household productivity lost as a result of violence. There are 16,800 homicides per year and $2.2 million spent in injury due to intimate partner violence, which is a total of 37 million, actually billions that is. All of this can be avoided and the negative impact on the community lessened. Once we can identify the threat, the next point to know is how to find help. The domestic violence victim is not alone. There are many resources allocated just for the purpose of aiding them. Know that if you find yourself in a dangerous situation where you are being beaten or abused on any physical way or form, first get out of the house. Go to the nearest neighbor who will take you in or any other place where you can have access to a phone. Call 911 immediately. If you are at home and you can't get out of the house but can't get your hands on a phone, dial 911. You don't even have to speak, especially if the assaulter is closing in on you. Dial, throw the phone away from you. 911 operators will track your call and send the police to investigate. That is the normal procedure for when they get open air calls. Once you are out of harm's way, don't hesitate in getting protection from abuse order. Many casualties could have been prevented if the victim had taken the time to file a complaint and to get a PFA. Sadly, many are too ashamed to ask for help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is there to offer help and to guide you to a safe haven. The NCADV is there to offer support, and this support comes in many different ways, such as crisis intervention, emotional support, advocacy, and legal assistance, and other services like housing, child care, and access to community services. If you would like to get more information about domestic violence, this can be found on the NCADV website. That is www.ncadv.org. It is the best website that I can recommend if you would really like to learn more. My hope in delivering this information to you is that you will be aware of the things that can be happening right under your noses in our own community. I hope that, like in the movie Enough, Slim, who took a stand to protect herself, that you can do the same. Know your resources and use them. Thank you all for coming here tonight.